Hello, my dear students, and welcome to the second module of consumer behavior. Myself, Dr. Samrat Bhardwaj, and I shall be the presenter and tutor for this module where we shall be discussing about understanding information search process. But prior to that, I'd like to congratulate you for successfully completing the first module and stepping towards the second module. In the first module, you have understood consumer behavior is all about, what the factors that influences consumer behavior, why is it important, what is consumer decision making process, and what are the different buying behaviors. Now we shall move towards the second phase where we shall be discussing about information search process. Here we shall be understanding the concept of information search process and consumer behavior, and we shall be trying to understand its relevance in the field of consumer behavior. Well, in the realm of consumer behavior, the information search process is a pivotal stage that significantly influences how individuals make purchase decisions. This process involves seeking, gathering, and evaluating information about various products, services, or alternatives to arrive at an informed choice. To understand this, let us straightaway dive into this immersive field of information search process and try to understand the five stages of information search process. The very first phase says problem recognition. The information search process begins with problem recognition. This could be triggered by an external stimulus like a personal experience or a feeling, a desire, or an advertisement, or wish for a new product which would solve a particular problem. Once the problem has been identified, the next phase is internal and external search. The internal search involves recalling information from the memory about past experiences and the knowledge a particular consumer possesses. External search, on the other hand, entails seeking information from external sources like friends, family, advertisements, reviews, online research, expert opinions, etc. Thirdly, is evaluation of alternatives. So consumers compare and evaluate the various options that they have gathered during the information search. They consider attributes, features, benefits, other factors that matter to them. The goal is to identify the option that best fulfills their requirement. And once the evaluation is being done, consumers straight away dive into the fourth phase, that is the purchase decision. Based on the evaluation, consumers finally make their purchase decision. This involves selecting a product or service or alternative that aligns with their preferences and meets their needs. Once the product or service has been purchased, they would use it for some time, and finally, the consumers would reflect on their decision. If the chosen option meets or exceeds their expectation, they experience satisfaction. Conversely, if it falls short, they might feel dissatisfaction or dissonance. So, in conclusion, the information search process is a fundamental element of consumer behavior. It empowers individuals to make well considered decisions, manage perceived risks, and ultimately attain satisfaction with their chosen products or services. By understanding intricacies of this process, marketers can design strategies that provide consumers with relevant and credible information, enhancing their overall buying process. Now, what is the role of information search process? I mean, whether this particular phase called information search process at all important or relevant from a consumer perspective? Well, to answer this question, it is a yes. Proper information search process can empower consumers to make rational decisions, well considered decisions, well aware decisions. Whenever a consumer evaluates about the various options that are available to him or her, searches for various alternatives available to him or her, then the consumer becomes knowledgeable. He or she becomes aware of the wide gamut of options available to him. And if the consumer searches for information in a detailed manner, the best of his capabilities, it would definitely help him or her to mitigate the perceived risks and make a purchase decision which should ultimately help satisfy his or her needs and wants. So, information search process is indeed a very significant aspect from the perspective of consumer. Even if you look into this concept from the perspective of the marketeer, information search process can be a very significant process, can be a very significant phase which should lead marketeers to design strategies and convey relevant information which are credible in nature. If marketeers are aware of the fact that their customers prefer purchasing products only after new information search, it would lead the marketeers to display those informations which are authentic, which are credible, which are relevant. And when the customer purchases a particular product from a brand and they find that the product has served the purpose as and how promised by the brand, a relationship of trust and loyalty would eventually develop between the particular brand and between the customer, which would in turn help this organization's, the particular brand, to increase the wide basket of consumers. Now, in the dynamic landscape of consumer behavior, decision rules play a very pivotal role in guiding individuals through the complex process of making choices. Decision rules are frameworks or strategies that consumers employ to simplify their decision making by focusing on specific criteria. These rules help consumers navigate through the multitude of options available and arrive at a choice that aligns with their preferences, needs, and constraints. Decision rules have broadly been classified into two categories: compensatory decision rules and non compensatory decision rules. Let us understand this phase by phase, one by one. Compensatory decision rule. This rule involves weighing the pros and cons of each option across the various attributes. Consumers consider both the strengths and weaknesses of each option available to them and make trade offs based on their relative importance. For example, uh, imagine a consumer looking to buy a new laptop. They prioritize attributes like performance, battery life, and price. Suppose there is an option, option A, which is exceptional performance, but is on the costlier side, while another option, option B, is more affordable but has a slightly lower performance. The consumer using compensatory rule might opt for the first option, option A, because of its stronger performance, even it is pricier. This is compensatory decision rule. Now let us consider the second one, that is non-compensatory decision. Non-compensatory decision rule involves setting specific criteria that must be met. Options failing to meet these criteria are eliminated, regardless of their performance in other areas. Now, there are different kinds of non-compensatory rules: lexicographic rule, elimination by aspects rule, and conjunctive rule. What does lexicographic rule have to say? Consumers here rank criteria by importance, and the option that performs best on the most important criterion is selected. Let us exemplify. Consider a consumer choosing a restaurant. The rank criteria may be like the quality of the food, the service of the restaurants, the ambience of the restaurants. If restaurant A has the best food quality, it would be preferred choice for the consumer based on the lexicographic rule, even if other restaurants have better service or ambience. Second is elimination by aspects rule. Consumers here start with the most important criteria, eliminating options that fall below a particular threshold. The process continues with other criteria. For example, a consumer is buying a smartphone. It prioritizes battery life, camera quality, and storage. If a smartphone does not meet the desired battery life threshold, it is eliminated, regardless of its camera quality or storage capacity. And the last rule is the conjunctive rule. Consumers here set minimum acceptable levels for each criterion, and an option to must meet all this criteria to be chosen. For example, while purchasing a car, a consumer sets minimum requirements for safety, fuel efficiency, and boot space. If a car does not meet any of this minimum criteria, it is not considered, regardless of its performance in other areas. So these are the various decision rules in context to consumer behavior. Now, what are the factors that influences the decision rule selection? Decision rule selection may be, influenced by factors like product complexity, time constraints, consumer expertise, and risk tolerance. Uh, like when you talk about product complexity, for complex products like computers, consumers might employ a non-compensatory rule to simplify their choices. When there are time constraints in urgent situations, consumers might use non-compensatory rule for quick decisions. For consumer expertise, experienced consumers may apply compensatory rules effectively based on their knowledge of the product. For risk tolerance, consumers with a higher risk tolerance might be more flexible in using compensatory rules. So understanding these rules is crucial for marketers aiming to tailor their strategies to consumers' decision-making process, thereby enhancing customer satisfaction and fostering stronger relationships between customers and brands. So with this, we have finally come towards the end of the second module called Information Search Process. I hope this module was thought-provoking and you have learned something new from this module, which should be immensely beneficial for you in the near future. In this module, we have discussed what information search process is all about. We have also discussed why it is important, what are the different kinds of decision rules, and what are the various stages in the information search process. So I think that will be all for this session, and we shall soon meet in the next module, where we shall be discussing some new facts, some new stories, some new examples, some new concepts in context to consumer behavior. Till then, see ya, have a great day ahead, keep studying. Thank you.